This afternoon. And to kick us off, we're going to start with Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Austin, you're not entered in the Cup race at the Glen, and I know you said that you want to try to make sure you're eligible for Rookie of the Year next year. So I'm curious, why is Rookie of the Year so important? Like, why not just run as many Cup races as you can and not worry about Rookie of the Year next year?
I mean, if it was a perfect world, I'd run as many races as I possibly could. But we've got a set schedule, and I've obviously done quite a few races in the 33 car this year, and I think Rookie of the Year is important. Obviously it's not it's still an award, still some trophies, and obviously something a feather you can stick in your hat. But as far as why we're not running this weekend, I guess it's why we don't run every weekend. It's a part-time schedule and a part-time team, and we're just not there.
And then will you run Indianapolis next week in the Cup car?
I think Indy would be the most logical place for me to run my last race of the year.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue with questions. And next question, we're going to go to Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. Austin, thanks for the time, man. Looking forward to seeing you back in New York. Just what's it mean to be back in the Glen, especially if it means a lot to you in your NASCAR career?
Yeah, I've thought about it because we didn't have the race last season, and obviously the last time we were there, I won the race, and it was my first one in the Xfinity Series. And to think of how far I've come as a driver in that amount of time is pretty incredible. And I've got a lot of the same guys around me, so it's going to be fun to kind of show up there and knowing what we did last time. But it's still the same challenge. It's not going to make it any easier, I can promise you that. But it's a fun racetrack. It's a great track to have on the schedule, and I know there's always a great fan base that shows up at that place. So looking forward to going back.
I talked with AJ yesterday in a possible rematch for the win, knowing both of you have strong road course skills. And he told me that Kaulig made updates to their road course program, but Watkins Glen hasn't been the best track for Kaulig. I'm curious if you possibly noticed that while driving at the Glen 2 years ago. And do you see maybe a flaw possibly in AJ that you could use to your advantage?
Well, I think Kaulig has really stepped up, to AJ's point, especially on the road courses. You've seen it like Mid-Ohio, for example. I mean, he was flat out the dominant car, and I feel like on occasions, I would say the 54, especially with Kyle driving, is probably been the best car on road courses so far this year, if we're going to single anyone out. And I feel like, on occasion, it's either AJ or I that they can match that pace. So I feel like I'm going to learn something this weekend about kind of where they stand, where we stand. I feel like we've been able to make improvements. I will say on every road course so far this year, we've been on a new tire. Going to Watkins Glen, we're on the same tire that we raced last time. So perhaps that can answer some questions for us and hopefully give us some data points. Obviously have a strong run and be able to help us moving into Indy as well.
Thanks for the time, man. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Dustin Albino. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, Austin. I'm working on a story about Jade Buford, and he mentioned how he's leaned on you quite a bit this year. Obviously, he's a rookie in the series, so I'm curious, how has he leaned on you, and also how impressive you've been with him not having any oval experience?
Yeah, I mean that's a deep end of the pool to get into, and I was surprised when Jade said he told me he was going to go run full time in Xfinity. And I guess for those who don't know, my relationship with Jade, when I first started, really my relationship with Ford was racing in IMSA in the Continental Tire Series, and Jade and I were co-drivers. He had been in the series for quite a few years, got a ton of pulls, and we actually both got our first win together at Mosport. So he and I go way back. That was 2015, and we've remained really good friends since. And he's obviously. He helped me a lot when I was a lot younger, and now, in some ways the shoe's on the other foot, just, given my experience level. And, he and his team are both trying to find their way through the Xfinity Series. And, he's done a good job at making sure he gets laps. And, I feel like they've had a lot of mechanical problems on their cars so far this year. But, he's a smart guy, and he's a talented driver. And it's been fun to hear the questions, because it's not like, a guy who has short track experience or has come from ARC or late models or whatever. It's a guy more similar to my background, and some of the questions that he asks are only questions I feel like I can answer for him, because they wouldn't make sense to anybody else. So it's been fun to see, what he's learned and how it's applied, because I feel like it helps me as well, with what we're trying to accomplish this season. So it's good to have friends, I guess, but I think he's on a good path.
Well, thank you, Austin.
Thanks.
Okay, our next question will come from Mitchell Brewer. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Austin, heading into this weekend, you have a big points advantage in the regular season points. With only a few races left before the playoffs, how beneficial is that for you?
Well, regular season points has been my number one priority all season, as it was last year for obvious reasons. You have the playoff point benefits of of the equivalent of 3 wins. So that's very important for me, and to be able to maintain that throughout this month is top priority. If that means having to be more conservative, I might have to be. We got to that point at the end of the regular season last year and had to go points racing for almost a month to maintain a 1 race lead. And I remember how painful that was for everyone on the team to have to go through that. But it's definitely what's necessary and definitely the most important thing for us right now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. Over the years, you've been such a road course racer, but we've had the young drivers get better and better and more aggressive and more aggressive. How have you seen the field change just in the short time that you've been achieving on road courses like the Glen?
I feel like my first race in the Xfinity Series at Road America in 2017, there wasn't a massive emphasis on road racing because it wasn't as relevant in the Cup Series. Xfinity had the most road courses more than any other national series, but I felt like they were almost exhibition events. And now I feel like a lot of people put in the work that they honestly need to be prepared for these events. And I think that's been a bit of a cultural change throughout all 3 garage areas. And obviously I've had the experience, and that hasn't necessarily been the area in which I've needed to improve the most. But I do feel like there's been a shift in the last 4 years of kind of the importance and the relevancy and the amount of work that it does put in to be prepared for those events, whether if it's, references or, understanding where the track's going to go, if it's a new racetrack. And I think there's definitely been a shift in the level of competitiveness even throughout the top 10 is significantly more than what I remember from 2017. So I think to your point, that's definitely changed, and there's a reason for it, is because there's a lot more of them on the schedule, and there's one of them in the playoffs. So they definitely need to be taken seriously if they're not already.
How do you prepare then? Do you really benefit that much from running Xfinity at a road course, given your talent level? I mean, you know road courses and the Glen, but how do you prepare? And then how aggressive do you have to be at this stage? You even have to push yourself at a place like the Glen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a race that you got to win. You have to prepare just like any other race. So for me, I don't think that changes anything. But as far as on the weekends that I have run double duty, I think there's been pros and cons for me. I feel like the cars are as different as they've probably been. Next year there'll obviously be a lot more different between Cup and Xfinity, but a lot of the driving characteristics and references and things that I would key off of don't really translate over as much as what I would imagine maybe they used to. But either way, it's still a great opportunity to go out and race and try and contend for a win.
Thanks and good luck. Thanks for your time.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, Austin, appreciate the time. As you look ahead to running Cup next year, have you done any lobbying for Brian Wilson to be your crew chief?
I think everyone, for me, that's the biggest unknown is the personnel landscape. As I look at holistically, obviously Todd Gordon retiring, is a big challenge for our team because he's a great leader, and that obviously puts in the position of the crew chief conversation. And I feel like everyone on the 22 team, on my Xfinity team, has earned the opportunity to be in that conversation. I haven't had any talks. I still feel like it's pretty early days within our organization to understand those things. But like I said, I feel like the guys on the 22 Xfinity team, as we get closer into the playoffs and try and go for a second championship, those guys have earned the opportunity to at least be in that conversation.
You kind of answered the question, my next question, which is, as you look ahead to having a crew chief, is it important to have someone who has experience as a crew chief at the cup level? Or you're okay, it seems like, with a guy in Brian who has been at the cup level, but not in a crew chief role?
I think a lot of things change next year because the architecture of what a crew chief is over the last couple of years has had a lot to do with the development of a race car and different parts and components and managing people. And I feel like more of it's for that next gen car, it has the potential to be about perfecting the piece that you have in front of you. So I feel like that landscape's going to start changing a little bit, and finding the right person for that role is important, and understanding what that role is going to be before any other race team could be important as well. So I feel like those are all factors that as a team we have to consider. But that being said, I've got a lot more things I need to be focusing on right now than what makes a good crew chief on a next gen car that nobody's run before. So I'm pretty focused on the next 4 months and giving our guys and myself a shot to win a second championship. So I guess that's as far as I've really thought about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we will take our next question from Michael Shelton. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you very much. Well, Austin, I was just curious with these last couple weeks off, if you've taken the time to reflect on where you are at in your life and your career. You're about a month away now from your 23rd birthday, defending Xfinity Series champion. You're in good position to win back-to-back titles, and you have a ride set for next year, driving one of the most famous numbers in NASCAR. Do you have a chance to just sit back and think to yourself, wow, how did I get here? How did I get to this moment in my life where I'm in this great position that I'm in?
Yeah, I'm certainly, even you saying that is a bit humbling. But I'm certainly appreciative of where I'm at and the steps that I've taken and other people have taken to support me to find myself in this position. But at the same time, as a driver, as a race car driver, it's what you want. The ball's in your court, and I feel like I have the resources to take advantage of those opportunities as I have in the past. So I'm excited about it, but I'm pretty determined. Even on the personal side in my life, I recently bought a house. I've tried to settle into that, and I've tried to get myself on more of a process that's going to fit for next year, and to not have anything to focus on that's not already sorted, that doesn't distract me from driving a race car. So whether if that's an easier schedule this year with not having to do practice and being home an extra day, I've taken advantage of the current schedule to try and get myself in a spot to where when it's go time at Daytona 500 next year, my life is my personal life is out of the question, and I can focus on taking advantage of every opportunity. I don't know if that shows you how extreme I take my racing, but I don't want any distractions, and I don't want any excuses for why I can't take advantage of that opportunity.
Absolutely. And just a quick follow-up. Earlier today on it was a Sirius XM, Joey Logano was talking about what he wants out of his teammates, and he said that you want teammates that can push you along and make you a better race car driver. So I was just curious what you think about, moving to the number 2 and just not only, the move, but the responsibility that comes with it.
Oh, certainly it's big shoes to fill. Obviously I don't like any article that I've seen that's titled, that I've replaced Brad, because I haven't replaced Brad. I'm the next one in line. It's an opportunity for me to obviously have a great ride, but obviously Brad's doing, something for him that's probably long term, and I think it's a great opportunity for him, and I wish him the best. But for me, it's hard to replace someone like Brad. So I feel like I'm filling those shoes, and it's going to take some time for me to understand how to run and operate at that level. But I'm excited for it, and to have guys like Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney as teammates. Those guys have been really supportive of me throughout my career, and I feel like there's a possibility, and certainly has been so far, of a great working relationship. I leaned on Joey pretty hard, especially through 18 and 19 when I first started running Xfinity, and he's been a great mentor and someone that I feel like I can be honest with. And I feel like Ryan has really stepped up within the team over the last year and a half, and really been a leader on track. So I feel like we've got a great dynamic, and the possibility to have really productive competition within our team, and obviously push ourselves in Team Penske forward.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll take our next question from Zach Albert. Go ahead, Zach.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. Austin, you touched on it a little bit with the number 2. How much stock do you put into car numbers? I know you were slated to drive the 21. Now it's the number 2, both numbers with a ton of history in the sport. Do you feel any weight with that, or do you put a lot of stock into what car number you're driving?
I think there's no denying what the number 2 represents for Team Penske. You know, there was a point in time where there was only one Team Penske race car on a NASCAR weekend. That was the number 2 car with Rusty Wallace, and obviously what he was able to build within our team and expanding 2 cars to 3 cars. You know, I feel like that is the number that built, you know, the Team Penske NASCAR program. There's very few numbers I can think of in Team Penske history that are more significant than the number 2. I'd say on the sports car side, it's number 6, and on the IndyCar side, it's number 3. So within our team, yeah, it definitely carries some weight. But it doesn't make that car more important than the 22 or the 12. You know, obviously, we do a lot to make sure that we're putting the same product on the racetrack for every car. And you know, it's just a big honor for me to be in that role and to drive at the highest level for Roger Penske. I mean, that's a big task. That's a big responsibility, and a really great opportunity for any driver, especially myself.
And I know a lot changed with, you know, what the original plans for 2022 were supposed to be. Had you gone down the road with Wood Brothers at all in terms of talking about next year and kind of, you know, not taking your focus away from this current year, but at least starting to that? And I guess I'm not even looking at that, but also, like, are there a bunch of Wood Brothers Austin Cindric t-shirts that were, you know, supposed to go on sale that now won't see the light of day?
Yeah, I'm not sure they made any shirts, but, you know, I talk to Len and Eddie on a weekly basis throughout the year, and I still do. You know, I've created a great friendship, and those guys have been great supporters of mine. But you know, talking to those guys, I mean, absolutely, we spent the entirety of this season planning on me being their driver, and those guys have definitely taken stock in me, and, you know, watching my development, and you know, whether if it's even going to races on Saturday to see how things are going, or listening into the scanner. You know, those guys have been big supporters of mine, and, you know, in some ways, it's a shame that I'm not going to get the opportunity to drive for them just because of that relationship. You know, I've really enjoyed getting to know the Wood Brothers and that family, and I spent some time in Stewart, Virginia recently, and getting to kind of appreciate all the history. I'd been up there for the Glenwood Memorial Service a couple years ago. Heck, I'm wearing a Wood Brothers shirt right now. I got a Wood shirt on. But anyway, I've really enjoyed getting to know those guys, and you know, I feel like Eddie is kind of one of those people that I could call in the middle of the night and complain about the world if I really needed to. And so I'm looking forward to keeping that relationship. Obviously, you know, with Harrison driving their race car, I think it's a great opportunity for long-term growth for them. And I'm looking forward to keeping that relationship high and being able to work with them, you know, throughout the next couple of years.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Looks like our final question will come from RJ. Go ahead, RJ.
Hey, Austin. So I'm glad Dustin brought up Jade Buford, because he's just one of the drivers that, you know, has gotten into the Xfinity series this year, you know, drivers from around the world. I mean, it's been awesome to see all the drivers that have kind of gotten their feet wet in the Xfinity series. And I've talked to drivers just top to bottom throughout the series about how the dynamic has changed, and, you know, what's so cool about racing in the Xfinity series, and how it's changed from 10 years ago to 10 months ago. And I wanted to hear it, you know, from the defending champion, you in another year, and you're going for another one this year. From your eyes, how much has the Xfinity series dynamic changed from drivers, you know, in your area up at the top and through the middle, you know, guys who could potentially play spoiler down the road in this season?
Yeah, I mean, if you look over the last couple of years, you know, guys that, you know, either I've known or can appreciate from other forms of racing, you know, you've got Sage Karam running at Indy, as you mentioned, Jade Buford. You know, you've obviously got you guys like Andy Lally, who come and run on the road courses. Spencer Pompelli, Connor Daly drove a few years ago. So there's a lot of guys that take an interest in the Xfinity series because, you know, it's a taste of what NASCAR racing is all about. And I feel like the current car, the current package that we have is really challenging. Even Santino Ferrucci, I remembered him jumping in, to Homestead in his first, Xfinity Series race without practice. I mean, that talk about a tall task. And I feel like the cars within themselves are forgiving enough to where you can probably get away with doing that, but they're incredibly hard to drive, whether if that's, the current rules packages, the downforce, the horsepower, whatever it may be. The cars themselves are great learning tools, and I've really enjoyed becoming a better driver driving the Xfinity Series. I think it's no doubt from the time I got in the cars racing full time in 2018, from where I was in 2017 in trucks. I had to grow a lot as a driver, and I feel like those cars have been great learning tools, and that's exactly what that series is for. The tagline is "Names are made here." But it's kind of a make or break series, and you either got it or you don't. So I've loved being able to learn that, and loved watching, so many people from so many different backgrounds give it a try and kind of understand what their thoughts are, because, every driver's perspective on what makes a car good is different. And I think that's what makes NASCAR racing fun, is because there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's about doing the right thing on the right day at the right time. So it's been great to see the growth of the series. I feel like the series has gotten fairly deep, especially in the midfield. I feel like obviously that's not an area that gets touched on a whole lot, but really from 12th on back is in a race in its own, and those guys are trying just as hard as the guys running up front. So for Jade Buford's point, I mean, that's where he runs most weekends, and it's a dogfight back there. So it's on bad days I've seen it. So it's certainly a challenging series, a very challenging car, and I think that's what makes it so attractive, because everybody wants that challenge.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.